We are given this function h of t, which represents the number of families that own a home in a small city, t is after 1980. And in part A, we have to determine the maximum number of families that will own a home in this city. So it's basically finding the maximum value of this function h of t. We see that h of t is given by 2000 over 1 plus 4e power negative 0.68t. And we know that this is a exponential decay function. So as t becomes larger and larger, that is when t approaches infinity, this function, that is e raised to the power of minus 68t, this approaches 0. So we can say that this equals 2000 divided by 1 plus 4 times of 0, that is when t approaches larger and larger. And in this case, we will get a maximum value of this function, because when the denominator approaches as negligible as quantity, the complete function approaches a maximum value. So let's say that this is 2000 divided by this is 0 and divided by 1, and this gives 2000. So when t becomes larger and larger, this function h of t approaches the maximum value, that is this is approximately 2000. So therefore we say that the maximum number of families that will own a home in this city is 2000. Now let's answer part B. Here we should determine the number of families that owned a home in 1980. So this 1980 basically represents t equal to 0, because as per this function definition in h of t, t is the number of years after 1980. So 1980 represents t equal to 0. And since we want to determine the number of families that owned a home in 1980, we plug in t equal to 0 into the h of t function. So it gives h of 0, and this equals 2000 divided by 1 plus 4 times of e raised to the power of negative 0.68 times 0. Let's evaluate this. So we have 2000. This is divided by, let's evaluate this quantity, that is e raised to the power of negative 6.68 times 0, which is negative 0. Or using the exponent clause, we can write this as e raised to the power of 1 over e raised to the power of 0. E raised to the power of 0 is 1. So 1 by 1 equals 1. So therefore the value of this expression e raised to the power of negative 0.68 times 0 is basically 1. And so we will have 1 plus 4 times of 1. So this becomes 2000 over 1 plus 4 is 5, and 2000 divided by 5 is 400. So therefore there are 400 families that owned a home in 1980. So the answer to part B is 400 families. Now let's answer part C. Here we have to determine at what year did 1999 families own a home. So it is given that h of t, that is h of t equals 1999. And when h of t equals 1999, we should find the corresponding time. So let's determine this by plugging h of t equals 1999 into the function h of t and solve for the corresponding t. So let me replace h of t by 1999, and this equals 2000 over, this is 2000 over 1 plus 4 e raised to the power of negative 0.68 t. Now let me multiply both sides by this expression. So we will have 1999 times 1 plus 4 times of e raised to the power of a negative 0.68 t, and this equals 2000. Now let's solve for this expression. So we divide both sides by 1999. So therefore, we get 1 plus 4 times of e raised to the power of negative 0.68t, and this equals 2000 over 1999. Now let's subtract 1 from both sides. So when we do that, we will get this 1 removed, and here we have to subtract by 1. We can simplify this fraction. So this equals 2000 over 1999, and this one can be written as 1999 over 1999. So now we have this common denominator, so therefore this becomes 2000 minus 1999 is 1, and this is over 1999. So on the left side we have 4e raised to the power of negative 0.68t, and this equals 1 over 1999. Can put this little bit left. Now I divide both sides by 4. So we get e raised to the power of negative 0.68t, and this equals 1 by 1999. And dividing by 4, I'm going to write down this as multiplied by 1/4. We can now simplify this. We multiply 1999 with 4, and this equals 7996. So I write this as 1 over 7996, and on this side we have e raised to the power of negative 0.68t. Now we apply natural logarithm to both sides to solve for t. So that is natural logarithm of this quantity, and this equals natural logarithm of this quantity. Now using the power rule of natural logarithm, we can put this exponent in front. So therefore this becomes negative 0.68t times natural logarithm of e, and this equals, on the right side we have natural logarithm of 1 over 7996. Now we know that natural logarithm of e, this value is 1, so we can replace this quantity by 1. So it becomes negative 0.680 times 1 is negative 0.68t, and this equals natural logarithm of 1 over 7996. We can now solve for t by dividing both sides by negative 0.68. So therefore we write t equals natural logarithm of 1 over 7996, and this is divided by negative 0.68. We can plug this expression on the right side using a calculator, and when we do that we get t approximately 13.21. This is 13.21 years, and since we have to determine in what year, uh, we should consider that t equal to 0 corresponds to 1980. So therefore t approximately 13 years, if t equal to 0, or if 1980 year corresponds to t equal to 0, then t approximately 13.21, we have to add 13.21 to this 1980 to determine the corresponding year. So I add 13.21. So this becomes 1993.21. That is in year 1993. In year 1993, we say that families own 1999 families. 1999 families own a home. So the answer to part C is year 1993.